Hello.
Yeah. Any questions from our previous session?
No.
Okay. So yeah, like yesterday I told we'll look at how to integrate maps in Qlikview and look at how to publish a document onto the Qlikview server. So here you have there's something called as Google Maps API, which is available from Google. So Google has developed these APIs. So you can just go to this Google Maps API and go to the particular website. It says hello map. You can just say Google Maps API for this thing. Okay. Okay, sorry, the one you'll have to search is the static map APIs. So if you go to this, so Google has this Google Maps image APIs. So what Google does is, based on the information that you pass on the URL, it will give you a like an image for that particular map. So when I say that, so this is the URL for one of the images. Suppose I take this URL, apply it onto a browser. Google is going to give me an image of that map, a screenshot of that map. Now what does that image, what does that string have? So it basically has the Google Maps API.com address, plus it has the information that you want the map to have. So it has a Brooklyn Bridge, New York, zoom size 13, right? Size of the image 600 by 300, map type road map, markers color blue, label. So it's basically, you have the markers also, G and C are two markers that are available on the map. So Qlikview takes this, okay, not Qlikview, Google takes the URL and whatever details are there in the URL, based on that details will give you a map. Now if you follow the bottom, I mean if you just scroll down more, there are further maps which have URLs. Okay, this one is based on latitude and longitude. So if you give a certain latitude and longitude, Google Maps give you a certain area of the map. Suppose I pick this, right? So here it says Berkeley 400 mm. I take this and put that to a browser. It will give me a Berkeley map. Now at any point, if I work it out, right, instead of zoom size 14, I say zoom size 13, the zoom is increased. If I say zoom size 2, so the highest zoom, so it is zoomed out completely. If I think the maximum is 17 or something. So if I zoom, so it will take me to the most closest. So it will zoom into the map correctly. So these are few, I mean, URL APIs. These are provided by Google. So you'll have to use this link and alter it. So we have a simple logic over here. To get the exact map that I want, I'll have to pass the information into this URL. Now, what is the information that is more relevant? It is basically the latitude and longitude information, which is very easy to get and very easy to append it. So this over here, it says this center, right? Center, some 70, 40. So it has this. Now if you look at it, all these things, I mean, if you go through this big API, right, it will give you a lot of information as to how you could modify the maps. Now we use the same logic. We try to use the URL. What we do is, in the URL, we try to pass all these parameters and bring it up. Now where do we do this is a question. Suppose I take this URL, so as is. So in the Qlikview chart, right, in the Qlikview file types that we saw this scatter chart, right? So I'll start with the scatter. I mean, there's only one chart which can do Google Maps. That's the scatter chart. By default, you have to do it. How do we do it? So I'll go to properties of the scatter chart. Under colors, there's this dynamic image, right? So you remember, all the charts have it. So it is not only this particular chart, all the chart types have it. All the charts have this dynamic image. What does this dynamic image do? It is, when you pass a URL over here, the dynamic image will fetch the image from the URL. So when I pass that particular URL, so dynamic image is giving me the background of this chart as the URL. I mean, basically the image from the URL. So it did not look at what it is or how it is. It just gave me the image. Suppose I pick up this image, right? I can put up over there and say that fetch me this. It will fetch this. Whenever there is a refresh in the image in the URL, I will get the new image, right? If this image changes, then I will get a new image. So the dynamic image allows Qlikview to interact with online with a website or any other online tool to get the most latest updated image. Now this updated image in Google terminology will be a modified map. So basically it is giving you in and out of a modified map. Using this technique of Qlikview's dynamic image and Google's URL based mapping, we develop map. Now simple logic, if you have observed the atlas, right? So let me take this. If you look at this atlas, which has the world, right? In this, you have something called as latitude and something called as longitude. Right? It starts from 0, 0 at the centers, and it slowly increases 20 degree, 20 degree. Now in this atlas, if I have to identify any particular location, for example, India, right? I will say that okay, it is around 60 to 20, right? It is, I mean, if you follow these lines, it's not exactly, I think 80-20, right? If you say okay, latitude and longitude is 80-20, you can identify India. Within India, you can go more granular level of latitude, longitude, you can do it. So basically, I'm plotting it. So 80-20, 80, 100, 20, 140, 160, everything. The same logic we will use again in our Qlikview application. Now, if you look at the scatter chart has both expressions, right? Order quantity and customer ID. Both are calculated. Count of order quantities, count of customer ID, sum of order quantity. Now if I replace this with latitude and longitude, right? I can put a vertical line as the latitude and the horizontal as the longitude. And then start plotting bubbles based on the latitude, longitude. With that plotting, I will make sure the background image exactly matches my plot based on the latitude, longitude. Then I will have my mapping solution ready. So how do we do it? So it is, for that you definitely need the latitude and longitude, which I don't have it in the application. So I have a sample application which has it. So we'll use the sample application. I'll share this application and the details with you, so you can keep this as your reference for your future work. So we have a territory map over here which has this. So I'm not showing the latitude longitude over here, but the backend logic is what it is. So the vertical is the latitude and the horizontal is longitude. So based on that, the bubbles are the doctors. So doctor here. So like Arm, Arm, Armanda, whenever I select it, it will point at this doctor. Now what happens is, you will have to capture the latitude and longitude in such a way that it basically aggregates. Now how does it aggregate? Suppose your data has this country, state, district, and doctor, right? Doctor A, B, C, D. So Dr. A might be from USA. So I have USA, the doctors are from USA as well as Canada, right? A, B, C, D, E. Now, if I'll have to capture the latitude and longitude of these doctors. So I'll have to say lat, long. If I quickly see the world atlas, North American region is around, like I can say it's around 3110, yeah, or 3000. So I can say 3000. Now over here, the difference between these three doctors, if I go at the district level, maybe three different districts, right? The difference in the latitude longitude won't be more. It will just be, maybe it will be in points. It might be 30.157 and 100 point something. It will be 20 or 30 point something. This will be 100 point something. This is how the difference is going to be generally in a country. So when you go with the latitude longitude within a country, the max the difference would be like this, or it might be 1 point below, or 1 degree low, or 1 degree higher. But once you get this, so technically I have this. When I'm plotting the doctor, I will use this lat long. When I'm plotting a district which is same, suppose these two districts is same, right? I will aggregate this, put an average to this. There is a different methodology of average. So there is a fixed formula as to how to average it. It is shared by Google itself. So they have devised this whole thing as to how you could average out these latitude, longitude when you have multiple of them. Using that concept, you'll average this out and plot the district. So when you come for the country level, again you use the same average logic, average this out and find out the country center and plot the graph for country. So you'll have to identify the lat long for the most granular level that you want to report or display in a map. So here the most granular level is the doctor. So they have captured the lat long for the doctors. Now once they have done the lat long, if you look at the backend, right, all they have done is one dimension, which is doctor. Expression is something like I told is longitude and latitude that you have to put in. So it's the vertical and the horizontal axis. So this total calls, all these are extra things that you can build it. It is not really necessary. But the main part over here is the latitude longitude, which has allowed this map to interact. Now along with this, if you go to presentation or colors, okay, not presentation, colors, you have the dynamic image. Over here, the dynamic image is the image that I showed. So it says maps.google.static map centers. It uses ampersand and says number, it is giving some variables. Now all these variables are defined in Qlikview to resize it. So map size, gmap key. So along with all of these, whenever you want to call an API into your application, you will definitely need a map key, so API key. So for that, what you will have to do is log into Google, register your email ID and generate a map key. So if you just Google over here, you will get API key function somewhere. I think I saw it somewhere here. Right? If you like API key, if you Google for over here, it is API key. So you can go to developers console and create a API key. So it will be available for you. There is some quota limit how many times you can access a API and all. Don't worry, it will be more than your personal requirement. Only it is only for a commercial standpoint. So you'll have to pass the API key. Now all of these, you don't have to edit anything. So Qlikview has made it little simpler for us. What they have done is they have developed this application with all the details. So if you go to the script of this and say main tab, they have developed all the variables. So all the variables are declared. You don't have to update anything. You just have to take the script from this part, Google Maps key. Just hello, can you hear me? Okay. Okay. So like I was telling, you don't have to really create or do any, extra, you don't have to worry about creating variables or anything. Everything is done through the scripting. So you just have to get the API key and append, update the API key over here. So you have this gmap key. So apply the API key in this variable, in this, to this variable. And if you look at the other variables, max zoom level, max zoom, definitive max size, variable pi, then there is something called as where mid latitude, mid longitude. So it is calculating a median, and then zoom is being aggregated, map type. All these are expressions which are defined by Google, and these are developed by Qlikview. So these guys, they have created this. So if you look at it, there is definitely a bigger expression over here, which is doing a lot of calculation as to how this map works. So the mapping experts are Google, so we don't interfere into that or try to break our head or into what this exact expression is all about. Why does it need to do this? Because we will not be able to improve it. The best they, they have told how to use it, so we are just following the calculation methodology. So all you have to do is update this script into your data, into your application, right? And update the expressions. So under the expression also, if you look at it, so expression is longitude. So under longitude you have this. Over here also you don't have to do anything, no editing of anything. Basically it's copy pasting and making sure you have the latitude and longitude data in your application or your data. So I have the longitude, I have the latitude. Right? I just copy paste the expressions, and when I plot it, I'll be able to get to see this. Now all the zoom, everything works based on what those variables are. Right? So if you click on anything, so automatically it will zoom. You don't have to build any extra feature for it to zoom or anything. To make it more easier, what I've done is I've put this into a Word document. I'll share this Word document for your reference and of course to use it. So you have the script in it. So this entire script for what you have to put this, you'll have to update this into your script till here, I think, yeah, till here. And then you have the expressions, longitude expression and the latitude. You'll have to update this. The only thing that you have, after copying this script or these expressions, the only thing you have to make sure is, one is applying a new gmap key. Okay, this gmap key might not work for you. Second, after the gmap key, you just have to make sure your longitude and latitude field names are exactly this. So basically use these same field names to name your longitude and latitude. Apart from that, I don't think so you have to worry about anything. So rest all of the things are taken care of. Any questions? The concept is simple. Google has given us the key, the images URL. So the URL can get some parameters, and based on those parameters, Google will give us the map. Now we alter those parameters. So in the dynamic images, if you look at it, now we are altering those parameters using variables. Now, all these variables are predefined and preset in Qlikview. So when we just make any tweaks to the latitude, longitude, based on the aggregation, all this thing will vary. Any questions? Okay. Are you able to follow it, or how is it? Okay. So I'll send you this Word document so you can practice it. I think with this we come to an end to all of our topics, unless you have any questions or anything that I have missed out on. So you could go ahead and ask me if you have any questions or doubts. Let's take a look at the curriculum ones. Okay, creating unwanted links. I'll come to this. Now this object, I like current year, right? I copy this. I will create a new sheet and paste it over here. So I have two options over here. Paste sheet object, paste sheet object as a link. Okay. When I use the first one, it will create a new object. It will have a new object ID. It will different. I can go change the properties. It is a separate object. When I use paste sheet object as a link, right? What happens is this new object created is a link to the old one. So any changes made over here will reflect in the other one. Any changes made in the other chart will reflect over here. So it is basically interlinked charts. So if you go to sheet 28, I think you have this chart. Suppose if I go ahead and change over here something, I delete the ship method ID. It's reflected over here. The sheet method ID is gone. So basically you can have interlinked charts. This is useful when you have to copy the same thing across sheets. One tip is these boxes, right? These selection boxes, whatever you have on the left hand side. So always make sure all of these are linked across sheets, unless your sheets differ completely where you want to change this current select. Make sure these are linked, because every time you do a change in this sheet, it will reflect across all the sheets. So the object will get unlinked and it will become an independent object. Yeah, I'll share the app too. So I was thinking I'll do the server today, but like Mark, because of this confusion of timings, I think tomorrow one day we'll spare like for the final session, and you'll also get some time to grab some thoughts today and come out with doubts if you have. And like, yeah, we'll do a final session. We'll understand how to publish the documents, and tomorrow I'll share a project with you. I'll give you a set of QVDs with us like a small business case. So there's no clear requirements in the business case. It is just plain in like high level requirements as to what is expected out of a Qlikview application. So you can choose the analysis that you want to present, design the dashboard that the way you want to present. The tip is, best practice tip is, look at the demos. So when you start one application or a project, right? So the basic process that you'll have to say is, first understand the requirements. So now there are two ways of understanding it. One is understanding it in a technical aspect. So when the user says, I want a tabular report, okay, or I want a chart. So technical aspect of it is, okay, what is the chart about, what dimension he is looking at, and what is the measure. So that's the technical aspect. Clear cut over. So as a developer you might do it, but as an extra mile or a more enhanced developer in Qlikview, as a Qlikview developer, what the best would be is ask the user, what does the chart require? Does it require a particular message out of the chart? Does it need to show a trend? Does it need to show a like comparison between values? Does it, so probe the user or probe the business user in those lines, asking what is the analysis that he wants to draw, and then apply your thinking onto that. So asking the user what dimension, what measure is easy, but doing that and giving it to him and then he comes back to you telling, okay, this is not what I needed, is not right. So that way you can actually be a little proactive and work more effectively on projects. So the data that I will give you is like a sales data set. So you can sales and inventory and product items data set. You can work with that, create a project and send it to me through emails. I will review it, and if you, in case you have any challenges, I will help you out with it. Any questions? I mean, for today, like I think I have, this is what I have for today. If you have any questions, we could discuss. Okay. And if you have no questions for today, I would, yeah, I think I'll let you go a little early so that you can practice and come back tomorrow. Is that okay?
Regarding that project, like in how many days we need to work on that and give it back to you?
Not, I mean, there's no rigid timeline for that, but yeah, as early as possible, in case over the weekend, if you can do it and send it to me as early as possible. So I would not suggest to spend like too much time on it. So basically, time yourself. So I don't have a fixed timeline. The reason is I can't decide, right? So how many hours you would be able to spend or anything. So based on your availability, try to spend the minimum time and maximum. Sorry, Alpana, your actually voice broke.
So
What
you
is
might
that?
be having an idea like how much time in general it takes to complete, like 1 hour per day if you put in, then in that case.
I think if you put, like, in my opinion, around 4 to 5 hours a day, you can finish it in two days or 3 days. So maybe you can split that up, or not even 4 to 5 hours, like 2-3 hours in a day if you put. So in a 2-day or 3-day task, you can finish it. Yeah.
Okay. Mm. Okay. If we are done, then
Yeah, I mean, like if you have any questions, we could discuss. In case you have no questions, then yeah, you could go ahead and practice and let me know. Tomorrow we could discuss other things.
okay, means you are saying tomorrow will be the last session?
Yeah, tomorrow technically will be the last session. So in case you have any questions, you can send me emails through. I mean, we could definitely discuss through emails and follow it up.
Okay. So tomorrow only you will be sharing about the projects or project details also, right?
Yeah, right. I think I'll try to send the emails earlier itself. So those
But in
details I'll supply.
that schedule things, it was written like 2 hours of. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I'll just check it out and get back to you tomorrow then in that case.
Yeah, the administration and QMC, right? Yeah, so that will do it. So tomorrow an hour we'll spend on the QMC, so scheduling and task. So in 2 hours I have kept it. Generally, it doesn't take 2 hours. So we'll see if it takes 2 hours. We'll do another session. Don't worry about it. So tomorrow is
Okay.
what, and I could have started off today and done it for 15 minutes and then like continued. I didn't want to do it because Mark also is not there. So I thought, okay, we'll do it as a fresh session. That's it. That was the thought.
Mm-hmm.
In case we are not able to cover tomorrow, we'll do it again. We'll have another session. There's no rigidity as such. Tomorrow is the last session. So technically, all the topics are being covered. So that's the main thought process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So we'll cover the QMC part of it. So don't worry. So creating this task, scheduling task and all. So in my experience, I've not taken more than an hour to do that. So in case we take more than an hour, we'll discuss about it.
Yeah, sure. It's fine.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Alpana. Thanks. Thanks, Sai.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Have
Bye-bye.
a nice. Bye.
Yeah. Same to you. Bye.
Bye.